Hey Capricorn, what's going on? We're here with the timeless reading. Welcome. The first card out is High Priestess. And Nine of Wands. All right. The way that I'm just seeing this immediately coming through is that it looks like there's an energy that you're trying to connect with or tap into or tune into. There can be like a place that you're trying to get to or connect with. It can be within another person, it can be within yourself, it can be within the universe. Having Nine of Wands feels like stuff that can come up that can maybe make it more difficult to connect. This can even be, because High Priestess represents the moon, this can even mean you want to get into a space to emotionally connect with someone, and you can feel like there's stuff that's popping up that you sort of have to tend to, or stuff that makes it more difficult. It can just feel like things are popping up maybe inconveniently, or just stuff that would be making it more difficult to do what you're trying to do. Some of you, this is a new connection. It feels like this is just like regular karmic stuff that you're dealing with. When I say that, I'm seeing Saturn. We have Moon over here. We have Nine of Wands in between, which can be like barrier. And then we have Saturn over on the other side. So this can mean that there's just consistency is going to matter. Putting your energy into this is going to matter. Sticking through something even when times get difficult is going to matter. Like all of those things. You can also feel like you've just in general been going through a lot of challenges emotionally. You can feel like it's fortified you though. I get this feeling of when you get, in this sense, I'm seeing you be determined, and I'm also seeing you be like, there's nothing that's going to stop me from doing what I'm trying to do here. So you can feel like no matter what pops up, you're like, I'm just ready to deal with it, whatever it might be. But I do, again, feel like you're trying to get into a space and having difficulty doing so. Like, it's reminding me of this one talk that Ram Dass does when he was talking about meditating, and then the place where he was staying, the cat kept like bringing him things, and like it could have potentially been like very disruptive to what he was trying to do. But to sort of do what he's doing and connect with what he's connecting with, and be integrated with everything else that's going on within his environment. So maybe you feel like you sort of have to have a foot in both worlds. Because this can be like, I'm trying to get deeper emotionally or spiritually, and then I also have this other stuff that like energetically is calling to me that I have to address or I have to tend to. You can feel like day in and day out you sort of have to stand there, but I'm seeing you be in a place where it's like a place of formlessness, and then also being in a place of form simultaneously. And maybe those things giving context to one another as well. Could be feeling kind of lonely right now. Like wanting connection, missing connection, but feeling like you're not in something challenging about where you are that can make it harder to connect in those ways. I feel too like with Five of Pentacles, it can be ways that we even limit ourselves, but most of the time unconsciously. So you can be getting into like unconscious discovering, bringing light to unconscious beliefs, limiting self-beliefs, feeling like for whatever reason in the environment you're in, you just like can't connect, like those types of things. When I'm not necessarily being that case, I'm seeing that be the case. I'm seeing that more so be the framework. So you may be checking out the framework of something that's having you feel a way that you don't want to be feeling, or like making you believe something that you're like, I don't want my reality to be reflective of that. Yeah, I get the feeling of wanting to connect with others, but you can feel like it's not the easiest thing to do right now. So this can be like, I'm really missing my friends right now, or I'm really missing someone in particular right now, or I'm just feeling kind of lonely or kind of isolated right now. I wonder too if this is like, I want friends and I feel like I don't have them, or like I want a group and I feel like I don't have that, or I want to feel connected, or I want some type of intimacy and I feel like I don't necessarily have that, but it's because of some type of circumstance that you're in right now, where that can be like what you're craving, where you're like, I'm going through something that's hard for me right now and I want support, but I feel like there's something that's not allowing you to easily access the support, like to feel into it. You can feel like there's a restriction with Saturn here, because we're just looking at the planets, right? The moon is the part of you that's like, I want to feel, I want to connect, I want to tune in, like I want to be at one with everything and everyone around me, or at least the things that you want to feel at one with. And then the world is Saturn, so it's ways that can sort of get trumped, where it's like, I'm trying to connect here, but now this thing is coming in and I have to take care of that, or like, I really wanted to see my friend tonight but I have to work instead. It can be these things where you're limited. So your heart can be saying, I want to be doing this, and then Saturn is saying, well, you actually have to do this first, or you have to do this instead, or this needs your attention. And it can kind of feel like the world or the universe or the adult you or your obligations are like, we need you to be here, and you can feel like your heart wants something else. So you can feel like right now there's sort of a challenge between these two energies. The cards came out in the same exact order for a reading that I just did. Who was it for? Gemini. This would have been it was the Devil and then Justice that came out in Gemini's reading. This reading will be a day after Gemini's reading. So if you are watching this on July 5th, it will be the Gemini reading that came out on July 4th. And the Gemini reading was about peeking into the future. It'll say something like that in the title. Okay. Five of Pentacles, the thing that you're struggling with right now that you can be looking at and being like, these are not the most ideal conditions for me to do something that I want to do, and so it's being in that space. Then I'm seeing something going on socially where you can feel like maybe there are more challenges socially that you're facing right now. Maybe you feel like you have less support right now. Maybe you feel like you want to connect more right now, but it's not so available to you, or there are things that are getting in the way of you actually doing that, like barriers and stuff like that. Having the World and having the Devil feels like you're sort of being... What Saturn is doing to you, like what the point of this energy is, Capricorn, is that Saturn is coming through and it's blocking you from having access to certain external things, so you're forced to go internally and to do some stuff there with yourself. Because I'm seeing the World and I'm seeing the Devil, and so this is like all of the ways that we may be leaning on things externally, but then neglecting stuff going on internally, and then feeling like something is lacking or something is missing because of that. So it's like maybe not dealing with certain things by distracting yourself socially, or by doing this or by doing that, or relying on this or taking that or not doing this, those types of things. This is bringing it all back into an internal space where you may externally be being limited, and so where you're allowed limitless connection and discovery is all within. So you're being sort of force. Saturn is like you need to look inside rather than outside, or within rather than outside of yourself. You have to in-source this rather than outsource this. And I do feel like you're getting maybe cut off from something, or you don't really have access to something that could have been maybe making you feel better, feeling good, but it wasn't actually addressing what the deeper thing was that you were looking for. So there's something that's been more deeply going on, and you could have been doing something that took care of like the surface level stuff, or like the symptoms of sort of this maybe like psychic pain that you're feeling, or spiritual pain that you're feeling, or suffering of some sort, or lack of fulfillment of some sort, or seeking of some sort, like that type of thing. Having Seven of Wands and having Justice feels like needing to fight to keep the balance within your life, and to keep you in more of like a middle road or a middle lane rather than in some type of extreme. And the way that I'm seeing Saturn come through is it feels like you're learning a lesson that has to do with being in the extremes, and how as much as you may try to get your fill of that, like it's never going to really fulfill what you're looking for. Like, the deal with the Devil is that you'll never get enough of something that almost works. And so you can feel like you just take it on and take it on and take it on, and it never is really answering what your question is, or fulfilling that thing, that you're looking to fulfill, or reconcile that thing, or actually like dissolve the problem. But by going within and doing this, which again, it feels kind of like you're being forced to do this. But there can be a part of you that's sort of resistant to the universe being like, okay, you're limited, you have to stay in this room. And instead of being like, okay, I'm in this room and now I need to see what I can do within here, you could be like trying to fight tooth and nail to get out of it. So it's like you're not even being present to where you are, because you may be just very resistant to that. But it feels like bringing back, it's like a mediator within yourself. This is going to bring back emotional balance for you, in a way where you feel like there's a harmonious relationship within the stuff within you, rather than focusing so much externally, which the external stuff is important too, but you could have been placing a lot of importance on external things and could have been taking away from something internally that's like, hey, I need you to connect with me. Hey, I'm trying to send you messages. And you may have been like looking elsewhere rather than going within. But then feeling like something doesn't feel right here, or I'm not feeling connected, and then maybe like continuing to seek externally, but then feeling like something was just still off or not right. This is something that's going to bring you back into that space of equilibrium with yourself. And it feels too like it's going to teach you like some type of balance or harmony emotionally as well, which can be like, rather than toppling over as soon as you get connected with something, emotionally speaking, spiritually speaking, psychologically speaking, it's going to keep you more in that like balanced space, so you don't have to go to the extremes. So just know that if there's a part of you that's like, I'm missing connection right now, or I'm missing certain things right now, this is to allow you to come back into a balanced space. And I'm feeling like this is meant to be more restorative than anything, but you have to sort of accept where you are, and that you're sort of in this room for right now, having to be in that room for right now. You're not going to be staying there, but it feels like you have to be in that room and not have all these outer distractions, so you will just focus in and tune in and address that. And then it's like, then the walls are going to dissolve and you'll be allowed out of it, but you have to do this internal stuff first. So if you do feel like externally you're being limited, it's so you can focus on your internal world right now and bring back a sense of balance that it may be lacking currently. So you can feel like you don't have access to certain things externally bring you back to accessing that internally. And some of you feel like you don't have access to some stuff internally, but by you focusing on and sort of like playing within your inner world, it's going to reestablish that balance of connection and harmony. There can be a part of you that kind of doesn't want to take this on or is resistant to it, but I'm seeing that if you will, this is something you're going to work through, and that is not going to be a thing anymore. Okay? This is the best thing for you to do for yourself right now. I think you're also learning to deal with a part of yourself that comes up when there's something that you're fighting against, when you don't want to do something, when you're angry, when you're annoyed, when you're in conflict, like those types of things, like that stuff is coming up to be addressed as well, and you're going to be learning from it. So rather than just being like I don't want to play like well with others right now, or whatever manifestation this can be, I'm frustrated with my own life right now, rather than just taking it at face value, it feels like going deeper and being like, where is this conflict coming from? Like, what am I fighting against? What am I holding resistance towards? And then what am I perpetuating by not dealing with it? And this is going to give you the space to actually deal with it. But I kind of feel like you're like a little bit forced into this. Like, you know, sometimes the universe just works in those ways where it's like, all right, well, we're going to cut off everything else, so you have no other choice than to either deal with this or fight against it, but you're not going to go anywhere unless you deal with it. Like, that type of thing is what this is feeling like. But just know that this is for like a greater semblance of balance within your life and harmony, especially with your emotions. So that means too that what's going on emotionally with you or spiritually with you or energetically with you is going to be more in a state of harmony with what you're doing externally, choices you're making, how you're spending your time, your energy, those types of things. It's bringing that back into equilibrium. So it will be a reflection, so you won't feel in conflict. Don't be so resistant that you don't allow yourself to see this opportunity if you want to get opportunity from it, okay? All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.